Forecast and preparatory meeting. I am Rodney Taylor, the Secretary General of the CTU, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, based here in Trinidad and Tobago. And next to me is Mr. Trevor Pravat, Director of Stakeholder Engagement here at CTU. Thank you so much for joining us today as we look at what is on the ICT horizon in terms of international and regional meetings taking place. And we have a very packed 2 hours where we'll be telling you a lot about the Cybersecurity Congress taking place in Guadeloupe, the Commonwealth Telecommunications Organization Digital Development Day. We have none other than the Secretary General of the CTO to update you on that. We have the ITU representatives talking about the World Summit on the Information Society, or WSIS, forum that's taking place in Geneva, the AI for Good Summit, as well as a number of other ITU meetings that you'll hear about. Of course, our partner Canto is having their annual 2025 conference, and we'll hear about that as well from Jimmy Rodriguez. One of our other partners, the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, will be having their annual General Assembly. And the Secretary General of the CBU will be here to tell you why it's important to participate. Another of our partners, of course, is the Inter-American Telecoms Commission, and we'll have some presentations on PCC1, the Permanent Consultative Committee 1 and 2, for 2 meetings taking place in Chile and Brazil. Of course, the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum is on its 21st edition this year, and we're going to beautiful Cuba. And we will, along with that, be having a CTU Aaron Latnick Policy Forum and the 4th Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum, and the chair of the ICT Youth Network, Mr. Tariq Mohammed, will tell us all about that. We have CaribNOG as well, the Caribbean Network Operators Group, to round off those international meetings that will be taking place in CaribNOG this year. CaribNOG 30 is taking place in Dominica. We also will then move to the Global Industry Watch. So we're switching gears a bit, and pleased to have the newly minted minister from Barbados, the Honorable Jonathan Reed, the Minister of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology, to talk about some policy imperatives for the government of Barbados. So it's an opportunity to get to meet the new minister for Barbados and hear what Barbados is focusing on. From time to time, we will be introducing ministers, in particular those ministers that are new on the job. Jonathan himself, Minister Reed, has been, I think it's maybe about less than 6 months as well. We have a new minister in the government of Trinidad and Tobago. At some point, you'll hear from him. Not today, but at some point you will. And that ministry is the Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence. So we hear more about what the government's plan is to focus on AI. We have a few other elections coming up within the region, and we'll see how those pan out and see how those new portfolios are assigned. And lastly, we will have a presentation from the World Bank, the digital unit in the World Bank, to talk about the World Bank's Data 360 platform. So there's, we'll hear more about this initiative and what are some of the, what is the relevance to the Caribbean in terms of data that they've collected with respect to our digital transformation efforts. Of course, this forecast is very important for us to ensure that we strengthen our regional collaboration. We are aware of what is on the horizon, and we are better prepared, of course, to participate in these policy developments and represent the interests of the Caribbean. It gives us an opportunity to identify our shared challenges and collaborate on solutions. And of course, to prepare our delegates, we want to ensure that the Caribbean is well represented, both in terms of our numbers in participating, but also in our preparation, our level of preparation for these meetings. So Very full 2 hours. Thank you for joining us. And how many participants do we have online?
I don't see it there,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay, well, we'll update you on those numbers shortly, but we've had some good registration numbers. So without further ado, let me thank you for joining us today, and we'll move to our very first speaker, Mr. Cedric Pradell, to tell us about the Caribbean Cybersecurity Congress taking place in Guadeloupe. Cedric.
Thank you. You hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Good. First, I'm Cedric Pradell. I'm the Executive Director of the Caribbean Cybersecurity Agency. I'm honored to introduce the initiative of Caribbean Cybersecurity Congress. Above all, this event is a wonderful opportunity to share our realities and to get to know one another better so that we can move forward together, learn to work together. Our goal is to foster collaboration, share strategic insights, and build a resilient and unified approach of protecting our digital ecosystem, economies, and societies. So thank you again to give the opportunity to introduce this event, and I look forward to share more details. This Congress will be held in Guadeloupe between 26 to 27. The honorary president will be Honorable Rodney Taylor, and the program of this Congress. First step, we're going to talk about this Caribbean cybersecurity strategy and the associated action plan. The second step, we are going to talk about an initiative built on European funding to build a Caribbean cybersecurity community. In the afternoon, we're going to share about the Caribbean community challenges for digital trust area, because we talk about submarine cable, we talk about data center, but it's not the end. We need more. We need to build a service. We need to build many things to deliver some services to our population and to our companies. Another point is really important for us is a regulation. The question of the regulation could be complicate the work between our different territories. So we need to know the different approach of the regulation between the different territories. Another point is the training challenges. Because for the French territories, we try to build some training, some master training. But the question is, this training, are they really adapt to our economy? Because we need to define the correct approach of, we need to identify the profile that our economy needs. The second day of the Congress is much more operational and maybe technical. We're talking about proactive security. Proactive security, the question is how we can anticipate the risk, how we can prevent the risk. And that is a big challenge for the cybersecurity, because the question of the cyber threat intelligence is already integrated in different standards, international standards. and we are going to introduce our platform. And this platform will give us the opportunity to share information. And with the sharing, and if we share information, we will be able to prevent the risk, prevent the threats. Another point is a cyber threats overview for the maritime sector. Because we are on the different islands, and if the port is interrupted, that could be really complicated for our territories. So for our opinion, the question of the port, the question of the continuity of activity of the port is a priority. And the last point is the risk assessment. The risk assessment is for the cybersecurity approach, is the first step of the cybersecurity approach. And we are going to share some methods, some approach, and to make a demonstration of this risk assessment. Thanks for your attention. And we are firmly convinced that our integration into a Caribbean cybersecurity strategy, along with our collective ability to anticipate threats and develop appropriate responses, is a vital priority for safeguarding our territories, strengthening our economies, and preserving our societies. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Cedric. Looking forward to joining you there in Guadeloupe. Of course, we propose to sign an MOU as well to promote the regional cooperation, and we're working towards finalization of that MOU to promote the collaboration between the CTU, ASIP, and also our regional governments, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, French Guyana. Who am I missing? Guyana. Yeah, and others, of course, will be open to others. So we understand the need for regional collaboration and coordination. We see a note here that this is clashing with the global IGF. A little, but with so many events happening, sometimes it's difficult. We see this as a sort of a different set of stakeholders, though, with a very sharp focus on cybersecurity. So we hope that you can join us. Are there any questions? Please feel free. I posted in the chat. If you want to ask any questions, please raise your hand, or you can post the questions here. So I trust plans are coming along nicely on the ground. Cedric?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yep. Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah. Okay. So if there are any questions, we will
There's one there.
Yes, there's one question.
Okay, so we have from Kevon, thanks for this. As sub-pillar, will there be any focus on regional cybercrime legislation and alignments to global standards? Example, the Budapest Convention, UN Convention on Cybercrime at some point. Are you touching on the issue of legislation on cybercrime and also a global framework such as the Budapest Convention or the UN Convention on Cybercrime?
Yes, the question of the cybercrime is another question, but we have to make choice. And for this year, we not choose these topics. But yes, just this morning, I'm in Paris, and we talk about the opportunity and the priority to talk about the cybercrime. So maybe, and I hope that we will be able to talk about this question.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Cedric. We are going to keep it on time. So, Trevor, who do we have next?
Yes, okay. Good afternoon to everyone. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we'll monitor the chat for any questions and we'll let you know. But in the meantime, if you can stop sharing, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Cedric. Okay, next we have the Secretary General from the Commonwealth Telecommunications Organization, Ms. Bernadette Lewis, who is not a stranger to, I think, many of us here. She's going to talk to us about the Commonwealth Telecommunications Organization's Digital Development Day. Ms. Lewis?
Yes,
Thank you very much. Good evening and good day, good afternoon to all of the participants here. And it is a pleasure to join you all again for the CTU's third International ICT Forecast and Preparatory Meeting. And I want to talk today a little bit about our Digital Development Day. It is held in association with the CTU 63rd Council meeting. This is the statutory meeting, which is happening on the 4th of July. The Digital Development Day is going to be on the 3rd of July. It will precede our council meeting. So I am right. And while I'm trying to make this thing advance, my slides advance, I am going to just mention that in 2023, the CTO defined a new strategic direction to support members in accelerating digital transformation in the Commonwealth and beyond. And when we say the Commonwealth, many of the Caribbean countries are members of the Commonwealth. And our focus is accelerating digital transformation. I'm sure I've given this definition several times, a process that integrates digital technology into all areas of an organization or nation, changing the operation of its people and systems to deliver value. So all of the CTU's work, all its activities, the Secretariat has been streamlined to support our members in accelerating digital transformation. And so Digital Development Day is quite a different sort of event for us. And there are three aspects to it. We have a morning session, an evening session, and an afternoon session and an evening session. And the morning session is about, we call it our Digital Development Clinic. And it is because many governments have changed, their new stakeholders in our organizations. As you would appreciate, the ICT environment is very dynamic in terms of changes in personnel. So this Digital Development Clinic is a preparatory meeting for the 2025 World Telecommunications Development Conference. And this is on the morning of the 3rd of July. We propose to have representatives from the ITU and who will talk about the WTDC, the objectives, the processes, and what is the most effective way for participation. And then we'll have presentations from our regional partners, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union. I understand the Secretary General, Mr. Taylor, will be participating. We will also have the African Telecommunications Union and the Asia Pacific Telecommunity, and they will be sharing the projects, the proposals, the lessons that they would like, or the themes they would like to have incorporated in the WTDC conference. So this is the morning of July the 3rd in London at Marlborough House. We'll have our Digital Development Clinic. In the afternoon, we propose to have an artificial intelligence boot camp. And what we are proposing to do in this afternoon session is build the foundational knowledge for how you incorporate AI in your business to support development. And in this boot camp, we will be exploring the vast potential of artificial intelligence, the technologies, and helping, to sharpen the skills, the understanding of our members and those who are participating, as well as sparking innovation, because the artificial intelligence provides a tremendous opportunity for really improving the efficiency, the business decision making of any organization. So we really encourage you to come. This is just a sort of preliminary. We have a lot of AI training that we will be making available and rolling out over the course of the year. And the last session will be an evening session. It's our new service reveal. And we will be showcasing the CTU's plans and service offerings. And I thought it was so interesting that Cedric should mention about training, whether it is relevant, whether it is appropriate. And the CTO has a new approach to capacity building in that we are customizing the training program to suit the environment, because one size does not fit all, right? All of our countries across the Caribbean, across the Commonwealth, they are diverse. And whereby there may be some very standard basic principles, you have to tailor the engagement so that it is aligned to the local circumstances and, of course, the culture, which people tend to overlook. The CTO has a long history of consultancies, but even this we have a different flavor for how we will be approaching consultancies. We're not going to be prepared to just hand you a document, a strategy, or a national ICT plan that we've done, and then leave it to you to figure out how to figure it out, to how to implement it. We will be holding the hands of our members to implement whatever documents that we do for you, or programs regarding consultancies and even project management, because at the end of the day, implementation is essential for progress. And the CTO is striving to have a measurable impact. And we've done a lot of research. We are going to continue doing the research to enable us to deliver services that are meaningful, that meet the needs, that hit the pain points of our member organizations. So I'm looking forward to seeing our members, certainly, and our other ICT stakeholders at Digital Development Day. And we hope that you will join us for our 63rd council meeting, which takes place on the 4th of July. And we are on the eve of launching our 125th anniversary. The CTO is the oldest and largest institution of the Commonwealth, predating the Commonwealth of Nations. And we will be celebrating our 125th anniversary next year, commencing 2026. So with that, Secretary General, thank you very much for the opportunity just to speak about Digital Development Day. Thank you.
Ms. Lewis, thank you very much. And it sounds like it will be a very interesting day. Okay, let me hand over to the Secretary General on this side of the pond to introduce our next speaker.
Yeah, just before I do that, your council meeting is closed, though, isn't that closed to your member states? How many member states, and is that a closed meeting?
Right. We have 33 member states. There are provisions for people who would like to attend as observers, right? So the council meeting is limited to the 33 members. However, there are provisions for people to participate as an observer. So, but the Digital Development Day is open to all ICT stakeholders who are interested. So thank you. Thank you very much, Secretary General.
Excellent. And we wish you success in the hosting of that meeting. And yes, I will be participating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Cleveland Thomas, no stranger to us, based in beautiful Barbados.
And he's not prejudiced anyway.
He's the area representative for the ITU. And there are so many things on the horizon for the ITU. And we hope you can tell us all about those within the allotted time. But we have the World Summit on the Information Society, the AI for Good Summit, the ITU's Regional Radio Communications Seminar, the Global Symposium for Regulators, the GSR, and of course, we want to encourage full Caribbean participation there, and the 20th World Telecoms ICT Indicators Symposium. Cleveland, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, and let me join with the previous speakers in expressing our appreciation for inviting us to share on some important events through the ITU. And while your colleagues are putting up my presentation, I should also mention that we all are aware of the opportunities and challenges that really define the digital journey for all of us within the region. And collectively, I think we have to navigate and influence our efforts for the region. And we have a series of upcoming events that are really important, some of which you already mentioned, SG. So again, thank you to all of those who are here. I have something like 25 minutes or so to present because it's quite a lot of important information that can speak to regional transformation. I do plan to speak to what the events are about, why the Caribbean should attend, and perhaps some of the critical issues that are being discussed, if anything else. Next slide, please. The first item that we have on the presentation, it's the World Summit on Information Society. This is going to happen in a month from the 7th to the 11th of July, and it is in Geneva. I was at an event or preparatory meeting on Monday. This was something like about, 5 a.m. Barbados time, and showing the preparation and some good things going on there. The event, of course, is hosted by a number of UN agencies, including the Swiss administration. Next slide, please. We have, what is it? It really is a UN-led summit held in two phases. The first one was in 2003, and the second one was in 2005. Hence the reason why that we talk about WSIS plus 20. It is exactly 2 decades since the conclusion of the summit in Tunis. And what we intend to do, the core objective, is really to create this global framework where everyone can create, access, utilize, and share information and knowledge to achieve their full potential. It's that collective effort of the world and dealing with issues under the action line, covering things like infrastructure, access, capacity, building, confidence and security, etc. We're also looking at some of the things dealing with apps and now AI and so forth. Next slide, please. So the key mandate that was given, we are going to have high-level meetings to review some of the outcomes, some of the progress that we have had over the last few years, the extent to which there are challenges that are still before us, dealing with the digital divide, affordability, emergency issues, ethical implications, child online protection, etc. So how can we determine and assess the progress that we have made? What are some of the things that are changing? What do we need to do in order to have that transformation path that is for the benefit of all countries? I think we really are trying to find that approach of strengthening the development for all. Next slide, please. Why should you attend, if at all, and you care to? Any participation of any country help to define and shape policy, international policies. You identify what might be your priorities, and we did not, and nor are we having the WSIS event as a first event. Suddenly we are having this event in Geneva. No, it is a buildup of regional meetings. It's a buildup of contributions and submissions by many countries. We are looking at what are the challenges that you have and possibly what are the suggestions, the needs. Of course, it's an opportunity to share what has been done within the region, deal with some of the capacity building, et cetera, and even at the same time to look at having networking, championing some of the causes for the region. So I think it's important to attend. I'm going to be there at least for the region, and I'm sure somebody from within the CTU would also be present. Next slide, please. The next event we have, it's a big event. This one is the AI for Good Summit. As you know, ITU leads as far as AI is concerned. Everything AI as it relates to application skills, standards, whatever it might be. This event is being organized by at least 40 other sister agencies. And the event will be taking place between the 8th to the 11th of July, again in Geneva. So if you are coming to the WSIS, you also have an opportunity to look at the AI event as well. Next one, please. So we have adopted through the UN Secretary Assembly, the summit, to provide that global platform for discussion, for exchange. It is in order to inform policies and regulation and legislation and ensure that it is done fairly and equitable for all countries, notwithstanding size, notwithstanding location, or any other demographics that one would look at. Next one, please. The event in itself, you would expect to find a lot of leading experts throughout the industry, whether it has to do with the academia, civil society, or even innovators, youths, or otherwise. We are looking at challenging issues, employment, sustainability, etc. And we list in the next side of these slides there a list of some famous visionaries as it relates to AI that already are going to be part of the program. Next slide, please. As far as the AI is concerned, most of you all may have heard of the Agnetic AI, which speaks to AI capable of reasoning, acting independently, and scaling rapidly. Discussions will center on the implication of this new wave and safety, governance, and responsibility issue. ITU is placed with that. We also expect and have received something like 200 demonstrations going, dealing with things like robotics and quantum computing, AI in space, brain-computer interface. And in our meeting, we had some demonstrations being shown, some artificial hands being, removed from somebody, and then see this hand being controlled on a table and doing things on its own. Real kind of sci-fi thing happening. So you have quite a lot of those going to have in demonstration live and direct. Over to next one, please. Next slide. Why should you attend? Again, it's an opportunity to influence and shape the ethical development, identify the AI regulations, and learn. Most of the time, it's the sexy thing now. Everybody is talking about an AI event, AI workshop, AI this and AI that. ITU being the source and the lead agency, I think it's useful to come to this event and literally see. You would have an opportunity. In the next slide here, we speak about unlocking practical AI solutions, building capacity, etc. And we also can use the technology for some of the major challenges that the region faces, whether it has to do with predictive disaster and measurements and responses and healthcare and transport and security. You have loads of that. You're going to have a billion. If you have not been to Palexpo in Geneva, I mean, it's large. It is extremely large. You will not be able to cover the area in one day at all. You just can't. Next slide. We have here, you can register, of course, but in 2024, we had over 10,000 people. To date, we have over 15,000 people registered for the event. And more than 40,000 plus people would be online. So it demonstrates the magnitude, it demonstrates the importance of the event and why you should be there. I know somebody is going to ask me about fellowship and Fund Spain and all the normal questions within the Caribbean. At the moment, there might be partial fellowship subject to qualification. Outside of that, I think CTU might be able to also contribute to the partial fellowship that you may need or so. I see the Secretary General face change with a different tone of voice. That's a sign he's capable and willing to help us within the region. I have just 2 more or 3 more quick presentation. I think I have just about 10 more minutes. Do I have SG? I have about 10 more minutes.
Sorry, yes, you're good to go. 10 more
Okay.
minutes, yes.
All right. So we want to talk about a few others. Again, these are events that speak not only because it's big or it's international, it is for the region as far as possible to be made aware of it. And to the extent that you may not be able to attend, at least there are those within your community that you can engage, share the information with, and see what can be done. Too often, I have heard of opportunities that are given through different sectors, even to ensure that the region has a presence, and for one reason or not, we do not take it up. But now I really believe that it would be useful at least to know about what's happening. The next item we have, it is dealing with the radio communication seminar. The deadline for fellowship has already passed. Next slide. You would recall we had a similar presentation or meeting last year in Grenada. This one here is next week, as a matter of fact, and it is going to be in Honduras. It is substantially going to be in Spanish, but next slide. The radio communication will be covering things like radio regulation, spectrum management, procedures, international frequencies, preparation for the WRC, the upcoming World Conference, and allowing the region to contribute and help shape some of the activities and or what is important, like interference, the band, and so forth. I know that the CTU has I think a working group or committee that a spectrum committee that manages and addressing this whole thing for the region, and also gathering some form of document for submission for the WRC. Next slide, please. So also, the seminar would be looking at the new technologies, spectrum use, bridging the digital divide, as I mentioned, interference, and specific issues that are unique to the Caribbean region or the Americas region, to be exact. So next one, please. Why you should attend? Again, to have that harmonization of spectrum to the extent that interference remain an issue, having regional collaboration, coordination, and also to identify some of the hands-on tools that you have. The event is really under and through with the support of the Radio Communication Bureau, the BI. And it really provides that kind of practical training on some of the radio regulations and applications, and bring that in-depth knowledge for those who are not familiar, so that we can ensure rational, equitable, efficient use of the radio frequency spectrum and the satellite orbit and stuff like that. So if you're into things like that, I think the seminar would be a useful one if you have an interest. And don't say, well, this is for the Latinos. Probably there's still a need for a link to understand what is being said and how it may affect even the regional preparations, the Caribbean preparations as part of the Americas for the WRC for 2027. Next one, please.
So that gives you 5 minutes for the next two, my friend.
Okay, so the Global Symposium for Regulations, we know we have the theme here. We also have the dates, which is in 31st of August to September the 3rd, and it is going to be in Saudi Arabia. Next one, please. You can register if you have a user account. If you don't, liaise with our office. We can help you get registered for this one. What is this whole GSR about? Next one, please. The symposium is really the flagship annual event of bringing national regulators and the authority from around the globe together to discuss things, identify best practices, and shaping things how we go forward. Why it matters, you have some information there at the end of the day to move the process forward as regulators. We move to the next one quickly. And this one that we are speaking to, we have also another event on the Indicator Symposium. This one is going to be in September. It also is going to be in Geneva. And this one is bringing together a lot of the work that we have done within the region. We don't have all the information, but it is used to reference the level of ICT development. We are familiar with the IDI, the ICT Development Index, and this symposium will provide information to you, your administration, your agency, on what's the status. If you go to the ITU's dashboard, we pride ourselves that for any country, you have loads of information of connectivity, but we have gone beyond that in terms of whether or not there's information on skills, the type of spectrum use, internet coverage, broadband coverage. We go into some of the areas with pricing, etc., etc. That's what I'll say broadly on this. I wouldn't bother to go through the other event, but namely to encourage the listeners of these important symposiums or regional seminars that we may have that I think will benefit the region as a whole. And collectively, there is a need for a presence. If you cannot go, share with the CTU. CTU can represent the region and bring the general macro focus on what is important to us. Hope to see you guys. Over to you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Cleveland. Really sorry I know there's a lot of information. We could spend quite a bit of time on all of these. And yes, we plan to represent the region at most, if not all of these meetings, and to help our member states prepare so that they can participate meaningfully. I don't see any questions.
I have a question. Just you mentioned the regional radio communication seminar. You said it's mostly going to be in Spanish, but there will be English translation. Yeah, if I wanted to go, I would get English translation.
Sorry, yes. I will have to check that. It's just like normally we will have translation.
I'm sure you will, yeah.
At the event, but let me reconfirm that and send you some information.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, so
Okay, yes, so Mr. Thomas, thank you very much, and we do hope that people will join as many of your meetings as possible. Let us now move on to Mr. Jimmy Rodriguez. He is the Finance and Administration Manager of Canto. Canto, again, is no stranger to any of us here. The Canto is going to host its 2025 conference. That's going to be held from the 30th to 40th of July in the Bahamas. Over to you, Mr. Rodriguez. Jimmy.
Thank you, Trevor and SG. Thank you for having us again at these quarterly presentations. Greetings also. Good afternoon to all my fellow panelists and the esteemed list of attendees I'm seeing today. So I'm here to, as mentioned, to highlight our 40th annual conference to be held in the Bahamas. So just to give you an overview of what's going to happen and encourage you to attend. Still an opportunity to do so. And just get these slides to move. Right. So in general, why you should attend our conference in next month. I think today we are about 1 month away from the start on the 13th. We go 13th to the 16th of July. And within our conference, you can get great insights and content. As always, it's a dynamic field of speakers, and even on the ground, networking is there for you to build relationships and to build a community, which is already very strong. But we do have a wide range of sectors that come in, different representatives and the different stakeholders that represent our industry well. And of course, our exhibition is a fixture, and we have quite a few new exhibitors that are coming. As you know, this technology changes every day and overnight, so it's important to come and be in touch with what's the latest, and they're there to share that information. And as always, Canto is work hard, play hard, and the entertainment will be provided. You will get a taste of the Bahamas' culture and flair. Some of our top attendees have confirmed. Some have confirmed pretty recently, but want to share some of those. We have the Honorable Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Mr. Philip Davis. He was at Canto 2024, and of course, being in Bahamas, he will be present to help us to get the show going. In addition, Melissa Horwitz, she is the Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of State, along with retired Rear Admiral David Simpson. Key speakers in different areas that we want represented, we want communicated in at this conference, and relevant things that everyone would be keen to hear about, but there's more. We have now confirmed the Prime Minister of Grenada as well, the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, will be in attendance. And the last I heard from him, his speech was excellent. Looking forward to hear more of his perspective coming to Canto. Also confirming Mr. Brendan Carr, the most recently appointed FCC chairman, and we're looking forward to him coming and sharing with us. And I think it's been a while, but we've had the chairpersons before, and we look forward to Mr. Carr being in attendance. And Cleveland just spoke and gave a lot of information on the ITU, but his Secretary General, the ITU Secretary General, Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, I do remember when she began her first campaign for the position, she did come to a Canto event. So this is great that she's circling back and being present with us. And she's here to share her perspectives on the international industry as well. All right, some of our main topics will fall into these categories, and I'll just go a little bit into some of the areas so you get an idea of what you can expect in coming to Canto: the digital transformation and innovation, infrastructure inclusion, and foundations of a digital Tobago is one of the panels that will be present. We want to know that digital transformation has been a buzzword for a long time and innovation, but we're talking about the infrastructure being there and the inclusion to show that make sure nobody is left behind. Rural communities are being taken care of, special communities are being attended to. And these speakers, as highlighted here, will help us to, as we move forward, as the Caribbean transforms digitally, that we are making sure that all areas are being attended to. Connectivity and infrastructure, again, important areas. How are we remaining connected with the rest of the world, and how are we looking at the infrastructure, the age of it, the modernizing of it to make sure that from the north to the south of the Caribbean, we are well connected and that we are moving forward with that infrastructure. Of course, security. Our first speaker spoke about cybersecurity, and it's a topic that we'll be looking at as well, as economic infrastructure. And we know when security is when it's lost for a little bit, there's a loss of trust and so forth. So that's an area we want to look at to make sure that we can restore that trust after issues of hacking or fraud or those sort of things, and the governance and the privacy laws and so can be in place to secure all our users, providers, and users for that matter. And of course, policy, regulation, and partnerships, these things undergird everything that is done in the sector, all areas. And we have our esteemed friends from the FCC, also from regional partners, the Internet Society, LAPNIC, ARIN, ICANN, of course, all coming to share what's happening in their areas as well. GSME continues to be a standard as well, dealing with connecting the Caribbean, providing the insights, innovation, and opportunities. Right, emerging business and social issues. With all the changes that usually take place, there are impacts on business and our social fiber or social relationships. And some of the topics we'll be looking at that and effects on us, the humans, in this field, and how we respond to it, and what can we do to improve our life with any changes that are taking place. So also have some HR issues being dealt with, looking at the green effects on our environment, etc. And we look forward to these topics being discussed. Just as a brief look at our sponsors, a broad range, and we thank all our sponsors for their support. Our exhibitors are also on screen. Not all of them are here yet. That's a changing list, but here is just a brief look at who we have right now. And for those of you not familiar with Canto, just to give you an idea of the size, we expect 600 plus attendees at this event, which will represent over 100 companies, at least 50 of these attendees being at the C-level, and 30 plus of our regional operators being represented. Usually a total of about 75 speakers across 50 sessions. So we'll have some keynotes, some single presentations, some panelists. And so we look forward to all of them coming and sharing and bringing all that information into one place. Most of our attendees are within the area of the Caribbean and North America, but we have some representation from other parts of the world, as you can see on screen, as far as Oceania. We look forward to the melting pot of the world coming to Canto 2025. And just a cross-section of the attendees, again, 51% being operators. The main sector, Canto, is an operator association, but we also have ICT professionals, equipment manufacturers and suppliers, regulators, consultants, the media is there, and some other sectors such as financial, oil and gas, and education usually do attend as well. And so that's it in summary. Again, July 13th to the 16th, just a month away in the beautiful Bahamas. We'll be hosting it at the Grand Hyatt Bahamar, a relatively new hotel, but an excellent location for us to celebrate our 40th anniversary. So thank you all and join us in the Bahamas.
Jimmy, thank you very much. And over to the Secretary General.
Sure, yeah, thank you, Jimmy, and happy 40th anniversary. We'll be there to celebrate with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to move now to Barbados for the 56th Caribbean Broadcasting Union, or CBU, Annual General Assembly. And for that, we have the Secretary General of the CBU, Ms. Sonia Gill. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And I want to again congratulate CTU on its leadership in coordination, information sharing, and making sure that the wider sector, everyone is at least aware of what's going on. And SG, I don't think you'll mind if I begin by having the invitation to the CBU 56 Assembly issued by the good people of Barbados, who will be the co-host.
Not at all.
Barbados will host the Caribbean Broadcasting Union's 56th Annual General Assembly under the theme Caribbean Media and the Orange Economy.
Sessions of the Assembly will be held at the Barbados Hilton Resort from August 18th to 20th.
The keynote speaker will be Prime Minister, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley.
Special travel rates are available for delegates via our air partners LIAT 2020.
We invite you to register for this annual General Assembly by completing the form on our site www.caribroadcastunion.org.
See you in Barbados!
Come for CBU, stay for CariFesta, 22nd to 31st August 2025.
Thank you so much for allowing me to do that. And I will give you a little more detail about what's expected to happen during that period. You will, as you heard just now, be invited to the Barbados Hilton Resort from August 18 to 20 to explore the theme Caribbean Media and the Orange Economy. And that's just before the co-host for our assembly, the Government of Barbados, will be welcoming delegations from around the region for CariFesta 15, which starts on August the 22nd. And the theme aligns well, not just with that event, but also it signposts the CBU's continued interest in promoting what we describe as the business of media. The assembly is an opportunity to shine a spotlight and ensure our Indigenous media survive and thrive as an economic sector, and also showcase the role of creative professionals and businesses in making contributions to Caribbean economies. We kick off with the delegates tour on the 18th. We will be having our partner showcase hosted by the Healthy Caribbean Coalition that same evening, and there will be an opportunity to review and engage with displays, including from our AGA sponsor, Eutelsat. The next day, the members of the CBU will go into plenary session, and they'll be discussing internal and external policy matters. One of the critical issues is digital television standards, and there will actually be a presentation on a survey that is taking place right now. That evening, we will have our official opening ceremony, and the keynote will be the Honorable Prime Minister, as mentioned just now. We also will be addressed by the new UNESCO regional representative, Mr. Eric Fault, and we'll be inducting 2 new awardees into the Hall of Fame. Now, our conference day, the final day, begins with a keynote from the Minister responsible for Home Affairs and Information, the Honorable Wilfred Abrams. We will also be hearing from the Chair of the Barbados Broadcast Authority, the Honorable Alison Leacock, the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, and the CEO of Regional Media Monitoring Body, Media Insight, Ms. Alison DeMass. And our moderators will be 2 esteemed academics, Professor Mike Aline and Dr. Patrick Prendergast of Carimac. And in the afternoon, we will have sessions, panel sessions hosted by the Caribbean Culture Fund. And then our finale in the evening will be the presentation of the 36 CBU Media Awards. So our intent is to really cover not only business, but also exploration of our creative sector, and also, of course, look at some of the major issues affecting broadcasters and other legacy media and new media across the region. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope I've kept within my time, and we really are looking forward to welcoming you to the CBU 56 General Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation, and we wish you success in the hosting. My question was around the awards, and can you give us just some insight on, since you have just about a minute left, on the awards, the categories for the awards?
Okay, I'm happy to share that this year we have been exploring not only the traditional categories, production categories, development-themed categories that we do in partnership with UNICEF Belize and other regional and international bodies, but we have placed a focus on what's happening in digital content. So the People's Choice Awards this year is actually all about the reels, as we've described it. And we've had more than 13,000 people engaging with the content that we put out for those 4 People's Choice categories. So the awards, the competition is very fierce, fiercer than ever this year. I can tell you that there are a number of people who have been knocking on my door trying to get insights into who are the winners, but you won't know until the evening of the awards. We're also very pleased that during the award ceremony, we will be addressed by the Minister with responsibility for culture here in Barbados, Dr. Chantal Monroe-Knight. So I'm hoping, SG, that along with your cummerbund and bow tie, you will be present for our award ceremony along with your colleagues.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sonia, and thanks for joining us today. We've shared the link to the registration in the Zoom chat as well for our participants online.
Truly
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so let us move on then. Our next speaker is Miss Maria Celeste Fuenmayor. She is a telecommunications specialist of CTEL. She will be followed by Mr. Miguel Munoz. He's a specialist PCC2 of CTEL. And so they're going to talk first. Maria will talk to us about the OAS CTEL 47 meeting of PCC1, telecommunications and ICT. And then Mr. Munoz will talk about the 46th meeting of the PCC2, which deals with radio communications. Over to you, folks.
Are you here with us? Yeah. If not, we will move
Yes.
to, and maybe circle back to CTEL. And we'll ask Sinead to step in here and tell us about the CTU's upcoming 21st Caribbean Internet Governance Forum taking place in Cuba. And also we have Nate Davis to tell us about the CTU Policy Forum, Aaron Lacknick Policy Forum that will be taking place inside or along with the CIGF, and of course our fourth Caribbean Youth IGF will be brought to us by Tariq Mohammed. Over to you, Sinead.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the core activities of the CTU involve ICT harmonized policy formulation, capacity development, regional ICT project coordination, Caribbean representation, and industry watch. The CIGF is the world's first and longest running regional internet governance forum, first convened in 2005 at the request of CARICOM Secretariat to address the Caribbean's input to WSIS. It's a non-hierarchical, multi-stakeholder forum that is convened by the CTU, focused on harmonizing internet governance policy regionally and addressing internet governance matters of priority to the Caribbean. It's a pathway to influence policymakers of the government stakeholders in the Caribbean and is more than just a preparatory meeting for other IGFs. It enhances the synergies with Global IGF and LAC IGF, for example, promoting national multi-stakeholder mechanisms. The current approach of the CIGF includes collaborating with regional and international internet and ICT orgs, and fostering, supporting, and utilizing local communities of interest, such as the local ISOC chapters, national IGFs, task force, advocacy groups, and computer societies. Together to execute internet governance activities at national levels. Progressing awareness and education campaigns for different audiences, advocating for regional consensus on policies, for example, contribute towards policy development. And we also do capacity building, for example, implementing projects on cybersecurity, IXPs, IPv6. Some of the achievements of the CIGF includes its long-running existence. In 2004, we celebrated our 20th year milestone and issued the fourth issue of the Caribbean Internet Governance Policy Framework document. This document is formulated by the IGF through contributions by stakeholders. So the outlook for the future of the IGF includes continuing to push towards national IGFs and communities, working with Caribbean stakeholders to promote implementation of internet governance policy recommendations at both the national and regional levels, pursuing sustainable multi-stakeholder arrangements for CIGF's work, continuing to enhance linkages with other IGFs regionally and globally, and to continue reviewing and agreeing on priority issues for the Caribbean going forward. 2005, we'll be celebrating the 21st Internet Governance Forum, which will also be the CIGF's first bilingual forum held in Cuba on the 20th to the 22nd of August in Varadero, Cuba. I'll now hand over to Nate Davis, who will speak on the Aaron Lacknick CTU Policy Forum, which will be taking place during the CIGF.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? All right. Well, I first want to say thank you to the CTU, as always, for allowing Aaron to be part of this event, and also hello to the colleagues, both the presenters as well as the attendees. It's always meaningful to be a part of this along with all of you. So I'm going to chat about a couple things today, time permitting.
Sorry, just can you put it on the presentation mode for us?
Oh, I thought I had.
We're seeing the yeah, we're not seeing it in presentation.
Let me try this.
View slideshow.
How's that?
We're still seeing the the ribbon. It's not in full screen. That little icon at the bottom. Yep, there we go. Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Continue to share that.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you. So anyways, thank you again. Just a few items I'll go over today. As was mentioned, I'll talk about the CTU Aaron Lacknick Policy Forum, and then time permitting, the Aaron Fellowship and Community Grant Program. So the Aaron Lacknick CTU Policy Forum will be taking place in conjunction with the CICF in Cuba, the 21st of August. And really, it's an opportunity to take an entire 360 holistic view of the issues and trends that are affecting the adoption, resiliency, security of the internet, in a manner that's looking forward to digital transformation and digital independence among the Caribbean islands. The event is actually intended to foster greater awareness, and like the Secretary General and the CTU, as well as Aaron, is we like to come out of these events with actionable items that make a difference in the Caribbean. And so this is really an opportunity for hopefully to accelerate internet adoption, and more importantly, relevant development throughout the Caribbean. Lastly, it'll be conducted in a format that allows interactive discussions and review of case studies that have been effective in the International Internet Policy Forum relevant to the Caribbean. And again, that's taking place the 21st of August in Cuba in conjunction with the CICF. Just briefly on the Aaron Fellowship Program, and the reason I want to mention this is because there's such a long lead time for this event, in that this is an opportunity that Aaron provides to help foster capacity building in internet governance. Each of the fellows that are approved receive an in-depth introduction to the Aaron's policy process, and it's an opportunity for them to attend the meeting both in person or virtually, depending on their needs. It's an interactive process. They'll be signed up with a mentor, and that mentor will take them through the actual policy development process, as well as be with them through their participation at an actual Aaron meeting. And I'll note that the application process actually will begin in early June. So it's important. That's coming up very soon. Similarly, we have a community grant program within Aaron, and what this is really meant for is to foster grants towards projects that help benefit the internet community, but in some cases have been used specifically for the Caribbean region. Since the program was started, we've had 23 projects that have been funded for roughly $271,000. And some of those recipients have been Caribnog, DNS OARC, the Virtual School of Internet Governance, Diplo, and so on. Specifically, what I want to mention is that this particular program has helped fund an internet exchange point deployment within the Caribbean. So there's true value there. And so one of the projects actually have to show an internet technical improvement, a registry or technology improvement, informational outreach, or provide meaningful research to the internet community. Applications are open until the 18th of July, so if folks are interested in doing this, the deadline is coming up pretty quickly. And that's really all I have for today. I'll accept any questions if there are any.
You just said 18th of July, but your slide said 18th of June.
I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. Yes,
Yes.
18th of June. Yes, it's coming up very quickly.
Very quickly, yes. Okay. Well, if not, well, let's.
Yes, there's one question
Okay,
in the chat
thank
from
you.
Tariq. He's asking, is there a limit to the size of grant and can anyone apply?
So the grant program, essentially anyone can apply for a grant. And as far as the dollar limit, the applications are provided for the grants under a set budget, which I think is for 2025, 60,000 this year. So as you know, as these applications for grants are approved, they have to fit within that budget. But for example, last year we had a certain amount of money that was actually left on the table because the two grants that were applied for didn't rise to that level of budget. So we left money on the table. That's why one of the reasons I'm really encouraging folks that have a project to please apply for them.
Sorry, Nate, this is within the ARIN region, of course, though, ARIN countries.
For the grant?
Yes.
For the grant, I believe I'll have to check on that definitively because I always get confused between, I think certainly the fellowship, I believe, is within the ARIN region. The grant, I think we've had some funding outside, but let me confirm that for certain, please.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And Case. Oh, and another question from our own Miss Francola. John, can anyone from the network of women, they can apply? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So anyone can apply. Yes.
Yes.
The answer to that is very much yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Tariq, over to you. Thank you again, Nate.
Thank you.
So thank you and good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. And I'm also sharing my screen. Please let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you once again to the CTU for inviting me to speak on the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum at this very important quarterly meeting that CTU has been championing for the past few years. So we've heard a lot on the history of the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum from Shanae. So just going to take a few minutes to go through the youth side of things. So as was mentioned, the cluster of Internet Governance Fora as well as the ARIN policy session, those are taking place over 3 days from the 20th to the 22nd of August. And on the very first day of that, half of the first day is dedicated towards this Youth Internet Governance Forum. So the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum is an initiative of the CTU to encourage and empower the participation of young persons and share their voices on the various topics within the sphere of internet governance. It's a forum that's designed by youth for youth, and as of last year, is an officially registered NRI, National and Regional Initiative, under the United Nations Internet Governance Forum. And so we also, quite apart from planning and hosting the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum, also contribute to discussions at the global level in terms of planning other internet governance forum activities and other youth-related activities. This forum that we're talking about started in 2022, which means that we've had 3 successful ones to date. The first one took place virtually, more or less. The second one, hybrid, taking place in Trinidad and Tobago as well as on Zoom. And the third, again, hybrid last year, taking place physically in Guyana. We've had a number of attendees from many countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Antigua and Barbuda, as well as the Bahamas. And so we see over the years, we are slowly accumulating more and more coverage and more countries and more youth. And so that's a trend that we would like to continue. As for the fourth Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum, that's taking place this year on the 20th of August, 2025, from 1:30 to 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, AST, at the Melia International Hotel in Varadero, Cuba. And so there are a number of key topics that we are planning on discussing. The agenda is already in its draft stages. So we're looking at AI and digital transformation, cybersecurity, women empowerment through ICTs, as well as the voice and actions and interests of youth in contributing to other regional and international fora, say implementing the GDC, etc. So I do have a QR code in the corner here that you can feel free to scan, and SG has also put the link to this event in the chat. Over the coming weeks, we'll be sharing more information, including the building out of that agenda. One key thing to note is that, as Shanae mentioned as well, this is the first time that we're doing a multi-language forum. So we really want to encourage that participation, both whether it be in person as well as virtually. So if you're a young person that's on right now, and I don't think that there are many, but if they are, we encourage you to come out and participate. And for the other non-young persons that are here, we encourage you to please share this opportunity with other young persons within your networks and within your countries. And as always, we are encouraging CTU members to consider sponsoring the in-person participation of young persons to this event. And so they won't just be encouraged to stay for this half-day event, but really for the full 3 days to get a broad scope and appreciation of internet governance, both from the youth perspective, as well as the overarching Caribbean Internet Governance Forum, and also the ARIN frame policy event. So with that, I just want to thank you for your time, really just keeping it short, noting the time that we have here. If you are interested, you can always contact us via email at cyigf@ctu.int. Thank you.
Okay, Tariq, thank you very much. And any questions for Tariq? And we do have the Secretariat here urge folks to sponsor our youth, because they are the future, as we all know. If there are no questions, Nate has put a clarification concerning the fellowship program is for people within the region. So it's, however, the grant program, though, he says, is not limited to those within the region. And he did put a link there to where the region. He also can field questions, and he's put his email address there. Okay, so again, to Nate, to Tariq, and to, sorry? She's not on. Okay, no problem. Would you? Yes. Yep. I'll go back to Citel, or do you want the minister? Okay, so Citel. Okay, right. Okay, so we now have on Miss Maria Celeste Fuenmayor, and she is the telecommunications specialist at CTEL, and also Mr. Miguel Munoz from CTEL. He's going to deal with PCC2. So let me hand it straight over to Maria. Maria, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, CTU, for the invitation to participate in this event. Unfortunately, my colleague, Mr. Miguel Munoz, cannot able to attend today, so we're going to be focused on the preparation for the PCC1 meeting. So, well, thank you so much for having me this afternoon. I'm going to be share my presentation. Give me 1 second. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. So my presentation is on the screen. Let me confirm with you.
Right. Yes, the audio is just a bit low.
Okay, let me close by. Thank you so much, well, for having me today. It's my pleasure to present the upcoming CTEL PCC1 meeting and the status of the update of the WTDC 25 preparation for this year. The upcoming CTEL meeting will be held in August from 18 to 22, will be in Santiago de Chile. We are working right now closely with the coordination to define the venue. They are just wrapping us on administrative business. So we're going to be announce all this information and spread the circular and the invitation next week. So please keep tuned because we're going to have more details about the venue pretty much soon next week. The deadline for the submission of contribution is July 28 with translation for documents that we receive before that date. Also, we're going to have reception of document between August 4 until August 4 that make not translated. So means some document that we receive on that week, we can probably depend on the documents and contribution that we receive, we can make translating in US or we can translate in during the meeting in Chile, and this depends of the importance of the topic or is an information document. For the late document, we have a very strict day that is going to be August 5th. So document received after that day will be transferred for the next PCC1 meeting. And also we put in consideration during the head of delegation meeting to decide if they can able to accept that document for the meeting. So you have the presentation of our logo for the meeting, and we hope to see you guys over there. That is an important meeting because this is going to be the third preparatory meeting, but we're considering this meeting a final meeting by procedure. So this is going to be the final meeting of CITEL for the preparation for WTDC, and this is going to be the last meeting to approve any IP that we're going to be submitted formally to the WTDC. Besides that, we're going to have a very intense, busy meeting in Santiago de Chile because we're going to have some side events and workshops that I can highlight here for you. On Sunday, we're going to be start with a side event by ISOC, Rhizomatica, and CITEL that we're going to be presenting a workshop called Strategies and Solutions to Connect the Unconnected. So this is a very important side event because we're going to explore some strategy and solution to attend those connectivities in rural and underserved areas. On Tuesday, and on the framework of the PCC1, we're going to have the workshop on expanding satellite connectivity to bridge the digital divide in the Americas. On Wednesday, we're going to see, we're going to be having experts regarding IPv6, so the evolution of this in the America. On Thursday, we're going to have ICAM that we're going to be provide a specific seminar on regards next rounds of the generic top level domain. And on Thursday, to wrap it up the session, we're going to present as a CITEL Secretariat the technical assistance that we are providing right now in the implementation of the Resolution 2966 that is regarding the initiative that we are taking in place to provide some connectivity in rural and underserved areas in Bolivia. And also we're going to have the follow-up of this implementation of the roadmap in Panama and Dominican Republic. So as you see, we have a very busy agenda and calendar for the next PCC1 meeting. Other CITEL events that I would like to highlight for you, and they are part of the PCC1, and it's going to be extend the invitation for CTU member state and all the colleagues, is these two events that we're going to have in June and July. They are both virtual, open to everyone, academia, member state, associate members, and the civil society, is regarding ICAM first approach of what's going to be happening with this new generic top level domain program as a new round. So we're going to have an introductory seminar in order to complement during the PCC1 meeting. And also we're going to have a virtual international seminar on the using of artificial intelligence to process claims by telecommunication service users. And this is as well is a PCC1 rapporteurship that they are promoting this event, and it's part of the PCC1 activities. So we are cordially invite all of you to participate in these two virtual events. Talking about the preparation of CITEL, we remind you that we have our chairmanship that is in full activities and at your disposal for any question regarding the preparation of CITEL. So our chair is Ms. Ena Decani from USA, and the vice chair is Mr. Roberto Irayama from Brazil. And also you have our CITEL Secretariat contact for any other questions regarding the preparation of WTDC is Mr. Oscar Leon, our executive secretary, and myself. The preparatory line, are right now, wrap it up all the information and all the activities that we are doing it toward the preparation of CITEL for WTDC. We're going to have one more interim meeting that allowed our member state to present and to submit new contributions, because the type schedule that we have this year was a little bit difficult. And in the last PCC1 meeting in Asunción, the PCC1 decided to allow, by exception, to have or allowed member state to present new contributions, or that we call preliminary proposals, in order to prepare for the WTDC. So we're going to have another interim meeting on July the 9th, where we're going to be allowed member state to present preliminary proposal before the final meeting. As indicated, this is an exception of the procedure that was approved by resolution in the last PCC1. So as you see, the preparatory line, you have just 2 more meetings to wrap it up, all this work. So the July, that is going to be virtual through the interim meeting, and the final meeting that will be in Santiago de Chile in August. So after that, we're probably going to have some virtual meeting, but just for coordinate activities of participants physically in the event. But we're going to be wrapping up all the approvals of IP during Santiago de Chile. So this is very important, your participation and your attending this event. The current status, as last meeting in April, that was Asunción, we have 2 Inter-American proposals. As indicate, we have very tight activities. We have 2 more meetings to propose new preliminaries, to propose new contributions. So we are working to have this coming meeting very busy. And this was a representation that we are going to be showing you in my next slide, because the current status, as indicate, we have 2 IP. One is the regional initiative that we're working together in Asunción. And also we have the modification to the resolution 46 that is treat about the indigenous people. We have 2 of the IPs regarding modification resolution 82 about multilingualism. And also we have a draft Inter-American proposal about the Baku Declaration. And 2 preliminary proposals regarding resolution 16 and a study question. But this last meeting that we have this week on June 9th, the Secretariat received new contributions, as I indicated in the last meeting in Asunción. So as you see, we have a lot of preparation, because they are just preliminary proposals that we have to deal with and negotiating in between this coming Inter-American meeting, interim meeting in July, and Chile. So as you see, we have more contribution coming. So we're going to have a very busy meeting in Chile. So we have modification resolution 67. They have questions 302, the 10 of reference. Their modification 69 regarding SARS, 45 regarding cybersecurity. Resolution 1, the rules of procedure for the sector, the ITUD. 24 regarding authorization TDAT between WTDCs. 69 is the cooperation between the 3 sectors. 64 is about protecting users, and resolution A on collection and dissemination of information and statistics. So as you see, the members that are working are sending preliminary proposals. So I invite you the CTU members, if they are thinking or they are preparing a contribution, feel free to send in for this coming interim meeting in July 10th. So this is the information regarding this third interim meeting. That is will be July, I think it's a mistake, I think it's July 10th. I'm gonna be checking, and online registration is open. So please feel free to register. Oh, 1 second. Feel free to register and feel free to submit documents for this event. So the deadline for this interim meeting will be July the 2nd. So thank you so much for the opportunity to comments and present what the upcoming PCC1 meeting and the interim meeting that we have in CITEL in preparation for WTDC. Back to you.
Okay, great, Maria. Thanks very much for that very comprehensive look at what is happening there at your upcoming meeting. And we do urge our member states to submit things that they would like to see included. It's very important that we do get on board with that. Okay, I think over to you, SG.
Thank you very much, Trevor. So we are scheduled to hear from the Honorable Jonathan Reed, the newly appointed minister from Barbados. He's not yet connected. I believe will be connecting shortly. So just so we keep the program running, we will invite the presentation. So we're basically moving to a different segment of the program where we're looking at the Global Industry Watch, what is happening within the region, what is happening in various developments. In this case, we have a presentation from the World Bank on the Data 360 platform. And here to tell us about that is Mr. Andre Barone. I hope I pronounced it correctly. He's a senior economist in the digital vice presidential unit of the World Bank and the World Bank Group. And I believe from what I've seen here that it's a comprehensive hub for development data, offering access to vast collection of data, analytics, and resources access across 5 thematic areas. And of course, we are very interested in the digital area. And we thank you for joining us today. And please tell us more about the World Bank's Data 360 platform and how the region can benefit from this platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the CTU for the opportunity to present this new effort from the World Bank of, as you said, to provide easily a lot of data related to development, and a lot of that data is also related to digital and digital transformation. And through that platform, you will also be able to access different analysis reports that the World Bank produces based also on that data. I've prepared a presentation, so let me share my screen. Let me find, okay. Share. And can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Sorry. Okay, so let me put. Have I put the presentation on?
Yes, you have.
Perfect. Okay, so this is really a strategic initiative for the World Bank. I'm sure I'm really happy actually to participate to this meeting because of to really learn how many stakeholders, how many initiatives are ongoing. So I'm pretty sure that some of the
sorry, Mr. Barone, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. We do have the minister join, the minister from Barbados, the Honorable Jonathan Reed, and he has a very short window. So I want to beg your indulgence to just pause for a bit, stop sharing. And so we hear from the Honorable Jonathan Reed. Minister, thank you for joining us. I know you're coming straight out of another meeting. So we just wanted the opportunity to introduce you to some of our regional stakeholders and let us know some of the plans that are taking place in Barbados under your leadership. And once again, thanks for joining us and welcome.
So thank you for having me, Rodney. Good day to all the colleagues. I must obviously apologize to the colleague at the World Bank for being mid-flight and being asked to stop on my behalf. I do apologize for that. I'm sure your presentation will be worth the wait. I have one laptop in front of me and a phone ringing off, and this on my on another laptop. So it is the nature of this work that apparently I've signed up to do. But I couldn't help but accept the invitation offered to me by the SG, given that we were both had the good fortune to be on a mission recently, and we in Singapore, and we stumbled across each other a number of times during that experience. And leading up to it, we were in London. He said to me, like, have you ever been to Singapore? I said, no, I've been wanting to go for 20 years. I haven't gone. He says, well, you're going to be blown away. And it's one of the few places that I've been that my expectations were very high going into it, that it was even exceeded coming out of it, quite frankly. And ever since then, I've been kind of nonstop bristling with thought on what is the potential of this region that we all love and that we work hard to kind of elevate and take to the next level in this moment of time where we exist, where you have, perhaps for the first time in our history, the most advanced tools of industry is easily accessible to us as small island states, right? So you go through a series of industrial revolutions, from steam to electricity to large motors, and each one of those are centered around metropoles and colonizers who have vast amounts of wealth, and therefore they center those centers of advancement in large spaces and use the smaller spaces as centers of extraction, whether it's skills or raw materials. And for the first time, here we have the opportunity to be owners of the skill, owners of the tools, because the same way a really wealthy kid may have access to a tool, I don't know, Perplexity or whatever, Claude or whatever, in Manhattan or London or Seoul somewhere, a kid in Port of Spain or a kid in Bridgetown or a kid in somewhere in Castries, if they have access over whether via schools or whatever, even government Wi-Fi, to have the same types of tools, right? And you're not limited by access to the most amazing tools. You're really limited by your thought, your creativity, your effort, your input, your ambition, right? So I think it's just a fantastic time for us to rethink our developmental path. And it's a fantastic time for us to give ourselves a combination of kudos for the work that's been done before, but a recognition that all who came before did well, but it wasn't sufficient in terms of this ambition that we really should have about this Caribbean trajectory and growth. And that's the energy I bring to my ministry. That's the ambition I bring to the ministry that I am charged with. I have a reality that, and perhaps I am going to give myself a little trouble in saying this, but I will say it nevertheless, of not being born in Barbados, but being Barbadian, and I was born in Castries. And so my mindset from the very start is one of a regional-centric approach about core things that must scale beyond just an individual island. Things of the nature of cybersecurity, your telecommunications capacity, and the sea cabling, all those kind of fundamental things that the CTU will concern itself about, is really a regional effort, and for good measure. So what we think about the regional effort, I think, needs to be redoubled, even tripled in some instances, as a result of optimizing on this opportunity, and all of us not scrambling for things like the next data center or the next bit of technology and not competing about the right things. Yes, some healthy competition must exist in all marketplaces and all open markets, but there's certain things I think that we have to just be very savvy about the regional collaboration effort around. And a lot of those things that fall under the purview of the CTU, I think, are prime examples of this, right? My general disposition is that the developmental track in this world of advanced AI tools and analytics, we will not fully connect with if we don't move from a static paper-based, silo-based infrastructure that we have within our islands, far less within our Caribbean community. In my own ministry, and Mr. Taylor knows as well because he used to be a senior ranking official in this ministry, is that it's driven by silos of information not walking from one ministry to another ministry. So the multiplier effect of having networking capacity, of having tools that are enabled to automate are never utilized in the fullest capacity because the data doesn't even talk to each other, right? So there's some groundwork that we have to do around paper-based digitization, some groundwork that we have to do, purposeful work that we have to do about allowing legacy systems to go the way of the dinosaurs and building new infrastructure around open data sets, building new infrastructure around open API, building new infrastructure around open government and open governance that is not only faster and better, but it's also more resilient, quite frankly, because as we see in this age of this advanced cybersecurity threats, those who are island on themselves in a ministry or a piece of data that's by itself, without a collective SOC taking care of its protection, are the ones that are actually most vulnerable to the attacks, right? So keeping to yourself is actually a added danger in this day and age. So a collective spirit, a collective approach, a more open, a more technologically advanced approach is what I want to ultimately drive for the ministry. So a couple key points are around, of course, building out a 5G network, building out a greater emphasis around cybersecurity, building out a greater emphasis on advanced compute capabilities. We need to be in a position where our islands have access to high compute. I was recently in Rwanda where announcements of large levels of investment in African continent GPUs. We don't need the same scale they have, but we need access to amazing compute to solve our very specific and interesting problems. And we need to understand what that entails for our frameworks. Building obviously good business facilitation to have global startups, have global researchers, have global innovators anchor in our island spaces and help us solve problems that ultimately redound to scaling up to the world. Again, is one of my core pillars of the work I'm about to do. And then the last most critical part, quite frankly, is I think the Caribbean has a leadership in, it's not knocking anybody, it's just a reality, a leadership in our technological space that is largely driven by a kind of internet 1.0 type of skill set. So networking, hard infrastructure, servers, people who are experienced, people who mean well, people have high skill sets around hardware and infrastructural understanding of what technology means. And that is powerful and necessary. But I think we're in a new kind of epoch of our technological advancement for a new type of skill set. And that new type of skill set around software engineering, AI engineering, blockchain management, data analytics, all these new skills that are highly valuable, and a huge one is cybersecurity, of course, all those very, very dynamic and necessary skills aren't part of kind of our leadership infrastructure. There's a different profile of persons that need to fill into those spaces. And so it's a different skill set that needs to be elevated, promoted, and put into places of positive positions of influence to drive the development of this next stage of the Caribbean over the next 5-10 years, I believe. So my search is a very, very aggressive one over the next year to two of crowding in all of these fantastic island scholars and scholarship winners and all those kind of people who've passed through things like the Caribbean Science Foundation and going off to doing fantastic work wherever they may be in the US, the UK, Canada, wherever they may be in the world. Doing an open call for them to come back to the region and solve some of these amazing, expensive problems that their skill sets are well placed to help solve, right? Whether it's energy, whether it's housing, whether it's transportation, whether it's mobility, whatever things that are now plaguing our development curve, crowded in those advanced skills and technology to be able to be the underlying layer of solving those problems. And I think the time for that is now. So I'm very, very bullish around the opportunity of the moment. I'm very open to collaboration. I think that's the only way we're going to be driving forward. I think any island that tries to do it on its own with small economies of scale is foolhardy. I think we have to really crowd in and do it together. And I think that this notion of competing on things that we don't have to compete on, quite frankly, doesn't make sense to me. So I'm in a moment of collaborating, and I'm happy to collaborate with the CTU, my friend Rodney, and others, and just drive things forward. So thank you for your time. Rodney, I could stay on for 2 minutes if you want. Let me know. You're mute, Rodney.
Thank you so much, Minister, for that presentation. The passion comes out. We share you're speaking our language in terms of regional collaboration. We've understood that for some time. And the CTU has been established, this is its 36th year. So the founding fathers of the CTU understood the need for collaboration back then. And now, of course, is even more imperative with the advancements in the technology. Everywhere I go, I emphasize the fact that the first search engine in the world was developed from the Caribbean, and in particular from a guy from Barbados by the name of Alan Empty. So you're right, there's no monopoly on intellect or innovation that the larger countries have. So we share your passion, we wish you success. Of course, we're here to support your vision and the collaboration we promote. Of course, we'll have our annual meeting in Jamaica in September. We hope you can join us. And beyond that, we want to create a space for regional ministers to collaborate more frequently in a virtual setting so that we can exchange ideas, we can exchange our common challenges and find common solutions. So I don't see any questions, but if you want to just have a final word, I want to thank you for joining.
No, thank you for that, Rodney. I'm new to the ministerial space, so I'm glad to collaborate with any of the colleagues who have a different perspective, different experiences, different things that we could share together. I come in for open plate. I'm not new to government leadership. As you know, I was previously the chief of staff to the Prime Minister. Before that, I was advisor on innovation. Running a ministry wasn't in my cards, but clearly she had a different plan than I had for myself. So I'm taking up the challenge. And again, I think there needs to be a different approach of what we think about skills, quite frankly, right? I think we know there are pools of global skills that companies, the private sector uses with great efficiency, especially startups, right? So pools of excessive skills that may be in the Far East or in certain parts of Africa, certain parts of Europe, that they optimize for their purpose of growth. I think there's a combination of us leveraging that to get started while developing indigenous skills. I think that we need to give our populations the belief that we too can become sophisticated spaces of digital investment in our own terms, in our own image, right? I think we have to move away from this being raw consumers of every single technological advancement, and we could also be producers that things that are our own ilk and if our own needs at the front of it. And we do that in abundance in so many ways, right? In food, fashion, music, song, literature. We do that with all types of pursuits of creative endeavor. I think when you layer that on top of a baseline of technological advancement, the Caribbean is an extraordinary space to be building from. And I look forward to collaborating with anyone who wants to drive forward. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you again. You may very well be the youngest minister in the group, but I'll confirm that and let you know.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to transition back to Mr. Barone, and thank you so much for being gracious and allowing the minister the opportunity to update us on some of his plans and his perspective on regional cooperation. So back over to you. Thank you.
Absolutely, no problem. And actually, I think it was important that the minister spoke first because he gives a context and ultimately gives the reasons why the World Bank has created this data platform, which is really to make more accessible the data that we have been either producing, or collecting over the years. So also maybe in the interest of time, I think these presentations will be shared, and you will have the opportunity to see the data platform at your own pace. So I would just give you a few highlights, I think. So let's move. So indeed, the platform is open both to external and internal audiences. So the external is precisely the CTU and all the people that are participating in this meeting. We are really trying to make the data related to development as accessible as possible, and you are one of the intended audiences for all the publicly available data. Then there are more restrictive data that that we use in our operations, and those cannot be publicly shared for different reasons. But this effort of the World Bank to make all data available as much as possible, both internal and external available data, is almost in the same, say, platforms from a data management perspective. And the reason is really that we want to push also the restricted data as much as possible outside when the conditions arise. So as you saw and you said, there are 5 themes. Let's go directly to the digital theme. This is the structure of the database. So the digital theme then is articulated in topics and subtopics. The organization follows the technological and economic structure of the industry. And you see, we start from connectivity, and those familiar with most of the data here comes from the ITU. And then we have additional topics: infrastructure, cybersecurity, industry and jobs, and services. They are less developed as topics because one of the principles that we have for now followed in this first wave of the Data 360, which is very recent. It was only launched a few months back during the spring meetings of the World Bank. But we are focused on really data that is of, say, generally accepted because it's methodologically sound and with sufficient broad coverage. So we have mostly focused on data produced by us or other international organizations and from non-profit organizations that work within the digital space. For now, the data is at the country level, and we have yearly data, which is periodically automated and updated automatically. And given this, say, these choices for the first wave of the platform, the Caribbean countries are quite well represented, especially in the more established data sets. But then I would say you can go through the platform itself in the interest of time, but I've also prepared a last slide really of outlining potential areas of collaboration. The first is really, it would be just great that all the people in this meeting, their organizations, all the stakeholders have a look at the platform and see how they find both the data, the website, the tools that we have, because we have also some reporting tools, some ways of doing some analytics already online, to just see both at the content level and as a user experience what you find good and what you would like to see improvements. But then I think all the purpose of the CTU, of the speakers, is really partnership, collaboration. And the World Bank as an organization is really both, to say, a traditional bank in terms of funding possibilities, but also a knowledge bank. So really to give either to advance in the development field, say for example, measurement aspects that, in digital, we know things, but there are still many things that we don't know. And so we are building an active research pipeline on that. And we would love to have any collaboration with any other research institute or researchers, especially in the different countries where we work. And then funding for either to upgrade say statistical capacities or any other things in this context related to the production of data, of good data and of quality data on the digital and digital transformation in general. So this is, you know, summary of what I wanted to say, and here you have all the links for this platform. So thank you again for the opportunity to share, and happy to answer questions and to continue the conversation also in other moments. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well for sharing that with us. Do you do any collaboration with UN ECLAC? There's an office here. We've done some work with them before on trying to develop framework with them for the Caribbean, and also in particular around the area of measuring meaningful connectivity, the infrastructure, but also the skills and so on. Yeah. So basically, is ECLAC one of your partners as well in the Caribbean?
Yeah. No, we work also. We work a lot with the ITU. We work. I mean, we have actually a very good partnership with the ITU on really discussing the different measures, how to improve them, and absolutely. And any say event or any meeting, any forum that you think can be of any value, we are very happy to be part of the conversation, to listen also to the needs, to also do some, as I was saying, this platform for now is really putting there the data that is most commonly available. Coverage is really high. But if there are specificities, for example, for the Caribbean, that are either knowledge gaps or methodological gaps, anything that you either want to discuss or that we can think of partnering to produce and get it off the ground, absolutely. I can also put you in contact with the bank is a very big organization, so also to shepherd any request or any need to the right office, you can really count on me.
All right, thank you. And you will be hearing from our senior research analysts to follow up on this. It's a very critical project for us. That's Ms. Nia Nanan over the next couple of weeks. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the forecast meeting. I want to thank all of our speakers. Thank the participants for joining us. We've shared a number of links in the Zoom chat, including links to all of the meetings where you can register. We've also posted an evaluation form. And over the next couple of days, you will have access to all the presentations that are made available to us. I think most of them will be on our website as well on this events page. We didn't have the presentation from Cardnog, but if you go on our website, you will see information on that. That's the Caribbean Network Operators Group. Dr. Craig is actually in transit on her way back from the ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So she could not join us, unfortunately, but thank you all for joining. We look forward to meeting up with you on our 4th ICT forecast later in the year. First, we'll be telling you about our own ICT week taking place in Jamaica, and we hope for that as well that you can join us. We wish all of the event hosts success in terms of your registration numbers, in terms of your participation, in terms of your sponsorship of the events, and of course, positive outcomes for the people of the Caribbean. So until next time, thank you so much from the CTU Secretariat. Thanks to all the staff who supported the hosting of this event today, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a wonderful evening, morning, night.
Thank you.